Hey there, yoga family. Keya Williams here, coming at you with another yoga tutorial. Today's tutorial is all about a pose that you might not even think of as being a pose, mountain pose or Tadasana. Now, mountain pose is just that standing posture that we do every single time you take an asana practice, and you're probably doing it every single time you stand in the grocery store line, every time you stand anywhere. It's that basic, which also makes it that much more important. So there are some key little points about mountain pose that we're going to talk about in this tutorial. Now, why is it so important besides the fact that we do it all the time, whether we're in yoga class or whether we're just in our everyday life? Well, because it is the basis of every single standing posture and every single thing we do walking around every day on our feet. When we have our alignment right, when our ears can be over our shoulders and our shoulders are over our hips, when our pelvis is stabilized, when we're using the most surface area of the bottoms of our feet, then we're able to stand up more efficiently. We're able to reduce the incidence of getting injuries like plantar fasciitis and other lower back problems and glute tightness that often we end up getting. If we can fix all of those things, then we end up being more graceful and moving with more ease. So we're going to talk about some little bitty details about Tadasana and do a couple of breath awareness work with standing mountain pose. All right, let's get started. So obviously we're going to begin our standing mountain pose standing. Now, the most efficient way to stand, we're going to start from the base of our body up and kind of correct some little things here. We're going to start with the base of our feet, and we want our feet to be about hip distance apart. This goes for when we're standing at the soccer field or at the grocery store, as well as when we're standing in practice. Particularly if we're new to yoga practice, we want our ankles to be lined up with our hip bones. That's what I mean by hip distance apart. So if you're a lady, these are not how wide your hips are. All of us have our hips just about 3 or 4 inches apart from the insteps of our feet. The other thing I want you to bring your awareness to on your feet is that most of us, well, not most of us, a lot of us stand kind of slew-footed this way, and this is what I call ballerina style. This destabilizes our pelvis. So what we want to do is turn the toes in, and it's actually going to feel as if we're turning the toes inward and making ourselves pigeon-toed. Really what we're trying to do is track the side of our feet with the side of the mat, okay? So not here, not there, but nice and steady. The next thing we want to do with our feet anytime we're standing around, especially in yoga class, is lift up all the toes and fan them out. So the wider you can make your feet, the more stable of a base you'll have. And when you do that, when you fan your toes out and root the pads of your toes down into the floor or the mat, you end up lifting your arches. When you lift your arches, you can find those 4 corners of your feet, which are under the base of your big toe, pinky toe, and either side of your heels. So if you're walking around at home, walk around with socks or nothing on your feet at all, and that'll help you practice this kind of lifting of the arches. The next thing we want to draw our attention to are our knees. All right, so we don't want our knees to be locked in straight because that makes us unstable as well. We want our knees to be straight, but a little bit of softness, a slight bend to the knee. Now, bringing your awareness to the middle of your body. This is where all of your stabilization and support comes from. So we're going to draw the navel in towards the spine, and when we do that, we relax the tailbone down. So what we don't want to do is tuck the tailbone under. That's a whole different feeling altogether, and it's also unstable. We don't want to flare the tail back. That looks very sassy pants, but we don't want to do that either. We want to find that middle ground where our low core is engaged and we're all nice and lined up. Now this is a perfect way for me to be turning because we're going to start talking about the shoulders now. The shoulders should roll back. And a lot of people in yoga practice, they draw their hands forward. That's not necessarily necessary. Your hands can still face the sides of your body, but we want to draw the shoulder blades together behind our back. Now what happens when we're hunching forward, and here's a good way to judge whether or not you're rounding your shoulders, is that your palms start to turn backwards. The more you hunch, the more your palms turn backwards. When you find that you're doing this, then that's your cue to roll the shoulders back, and the palms should turn in towards your thighs, right? We want to level the chin off. One of the common mistakes that people make in class and walking around in general is lifting the neck like this we're jutting the neck forward. We want the ears to be right over top of our shoulders, and our shoulders will also be right over top of our hips. This is what I call ballerina posture. All right, so every posture we come into that's standing will have that same alignment. Now here's some breathing exercises to do to help you become more aware of this posture. On an inhale, you just reach your arms up and try to keep all of those alignment cues in place. On an exhale, you're going to draw the arms back down and notice what muscles are working to help you keep those alignment cues in place. Do that a couple of times with your breath, inhaling the arms up and exhaling the arms down. And you'll find that just practicing this for a few times every day or every other day will help you become more aware of your posture both on and off the mat. All right, guys, if you have any other questions about this pose or any other postures we do in class, please don't hesitate to drop me a line underneath of this video, and I'll be happy to create another tutorial for you. See you around.